Hi guys, today I'm gonna talk about some hypotheses behind the two attacks carried out over the Kremlin using drones. The fact that it's pretty simple. We have this first attack, more or less targeting the flag on the Kremlin. Then a couple of guys went out to check the damages, and 15 minutes later, so after the first attack, a second drone came in from a very different perspective and hit the Kremlin as well. Random facts, as usual. I don't have answers, just random thoughts. Hypothesis. First, Ukrainians are behind that, but honestly speaking, it's not plausible for at least a couple of reasons. First, there are no tactical or neither strategic advantages for the Ukrainians in doing something like that. What is the result of all of that? Absolutely nothing. And we're gonna discuss later in this video about all the odds. So everything that is contrary to that approach in a moment. And second, probably Russia. Well, the Russian Federation has one of the most advanced protective system exactly designed to prevent such kind of attacks and many different others. So from airstrikes to drones attacks. Then yeah, maybe the most technical guys between you might argue that it really depends on where you put the radar. So the higher, the lower is the better is the possibility for a drone to just fly through the buildings and then reach out the target. Well, in Moscow, even recently, they reinforced those defenses and they just place all those radars on the rooftops, so they're not so high, which means that in theory those drones would have to just fly through the buildings, which, by the way, it's not plausible at all, because it would mean that the Russian, which have one of the most advanced defense system in the world, wouldn't be even able to protect one of the most guarded and sacred buildings in Moscow. So it would be just really like a debacle, okay, for them. But yeah, okay, so Ukrainians. And then another thing, it's true that Moscow is not in the middle of Russia, okay? And Russia is a continent, so it's relatively close to the border with Ukraine, but relative, okay? It's not really close at all. So honestly, I don't see possible that two different drones could have flown from the Ukrainian territory to Moscow without being spotted at all. Not really possible. And this would lead us to, the Russians themselves having carried out or simulated those attacks. And the advantages might be multiple. First, they now have the excuse to really start escalating even further, because till today, they have explicitly and always avoided attacking Zelensky's palace and the ministry's palaces, Kiev more or less in general when it comes to those state buildings, government buildings. And now they have the excuse to start attacking very hard on them. Plus, in such a way, they have simulated the Ukrainians. They would have simulated the Ukrainians breaking one of the most important rules in war. Never kill the other sovereign, the other king. No matter the violence, you can never ever touch the representative of the other population. This would be just so disgraceful. In fact, Medvedev, sorry for the bad pronunciation, which plays really the hard line here in this recent happenings, has already stated that due to those attacks, now Russians have the legitimacy, the right to strike directly Zelensky as a person, to kill him, to get rid of him. So now that they have this, and another thing, the two drones attack from two different starting points, like from north and south. So even in the case, if you admit that the Ukrainians were able to do that, how would that be possible to reach out the Kremlin for all those kilometers without being spotted, and then even being able to attack from two different fronts? So likely the Russians, secret services, I don't know, are behind that. But the most interesting reading of those facts that I heard so far is that Russia could now use these recent events as an excuse to continue mobilizing the population, not to reach a peak. If you're thinking of having 1 million men on the front, this is just unbearable from a logistical perspective, because you have to feed all those guys. You gotta provide ammos and stuff and so on. And this would be just a nightmare, as we have seen at the beginning of this war. And second, you would have to coordinate all those guys. So even from an administrative perspective, it would be a nightmare. The cool thing is that now they can continue replacing guys on the front, on the line, more or less maintaining a deployment in the form of 300 to 400,000 men, always fresh on the front line. And this is something that I think it's a good interpretation. So to recap, are the Ukrainians behind those drones attacks? Honestly, no, I don't think so. It wouldn't be so logical. What would be the advantage for the Ukrainians? Everything is possible, of course, even considering that no state, no population is just rock solid. You might have different bodies acting for different reasons, different targets, different interests. So, but in line of principle, the Ukrainians have everything to lose and nothing really to gain. So likely behind those fake attacks, you can find Russian forces. And now they have the super cool, from their perspective, there is nothing really cool about war. There is the possibility for them to continue mobilizing a lot of people on the front, young guys, really, around the flag, around the motherland, with the clear target to always have 300,000 to 400,000 men, always in constant move, recycling on the front line. Yeah, these were some random thoughts on the recent events. I hope that you find that interesting. It's not a political statement. It's just geopolitics and a little bit of thinking about those facts. Yeah. So thanks for little detail. Putin probably some months ago, when he signed the order for the mobilization, he deliberately kept two things open: the number of soldiers, so the number of citizens which could be involved, and the end of this period, this mobilization period. And this really goes into the direction of what I just said, always keeping the pressure high on the Ukrainian front. So thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.